everyone, a very warm welcome to this special. Today we are discussing Virat Kohli's form, or rather the lack of form from Virat Kohli, and it has continued the period and the hope for people to get Virat Kohli to score 100 carries on. Having said that, Virat Kohli has found new ways of getting out in this IPL, and yet again, after the golden duck in the last match for Royal Challengers Bangalore, the questions around his form have only gotten louder. Nikhil Narayan is here with me to discuss this. What seems to be the problem with Virat Kohli? Where has his form gone? And what can Virat Kohli do to find it back? Nikhil, questions are going to be asked. Questions have already been asked before, but I think they've just gotten louder given that he just can't seem to get any runs.
Absolutely, Maya. Questions have even got louder because he's not the captain anymore. If you're not the captain of any of the teams you're leading, whether RCB or India, and then you don't perform with the bat, which is the case with Virat Kohli, then there is a problem, because then you are judged only as a batsman. And he is a great batsman, not only a great batsman, one of the greatest of all time from any country. But still, this period of not being in form across formats has, it's prolonged now. It's since November 2019, doesn't have a century in international cricket. Altogether, it's been 100 innings, 100 innings since he doesn't have a century, if we include 37 IPL matches also. 100 innings, it's probably, I was doing an analysis, it's probably the greatest slump for any great batsman. Whether you could see a Richards, Tendulkar, a Lara, Miyandad, Greg Chappell, they've all gone through slumps. But no one has gone through this longer slump if you combine the formats. Of course, in Test cricket, his slump is he's gone really low. His numbers in ODIs are okay. His numbers in T20s are in fact very good. IPL, his numbers are poor. But overall, Virat Kohli has gone down drastically.
Virat Kohli, the one of the greatest, as we say, one of a lifetime generation batsman. He is not being able to get runs, as many runs and as he would want to get, or his fans would want to get, and that 100, seems to be that. He seems to have gone far, far away. He cannot seem to get to his 71st 100. Okay, now before we go any further, let's take a look at his numbers in the IPL so far. There was all this talk around Virat Kohli having given up the IPL captaincy, that he can finally relax and just concentrate on his batting. It seems to have backfired for him, because in 7 innings, 119 runs, average 19, strike rate 123, and to think that they've built this batting around him and Faf du Plessis. RCB would be very happy with the fact that Faf du Plessis is scoring runs, and so is Dinesh Karthik, and Glenn Maxwell now that he's joined, because Virat Kohli is clearly struggling.
Yeah, if you failed in 5 out of 7 innings, it's not that the other 2 innings you've produced, magical match-winning knocks. Other 2 innings have also been 40, so not even 150 in 7 innings. And the thing with Kohli is, he has had a strike rate problem in the previous 2 editions of the IPL also. His strike rate has been around mid-120s only. But then he has scored, 400, 500 runs. This season, just double, supposing his form remains the same, if you double those runs, it's only 238, and that is a very poor season for a batsman who's caliber. Also, his average is below 20. It's amongst the 5 lowest in this tournament for a top 3 batsman. So clearly, Kohli is struggling in this tournament. Also, we'll see later in the show, we'll discuss the modes of his dismissal, and they have been very non-Kohli-like.
That's right. Also, the other thing being that Virat Kohli, by his standards, has been bad. Virat Kohli, the batsman, has still scored runs in ODIs and T20 internationals, as much as people would like to believe otherwise. But I think a lot of it is him living up to the expectations. Virat Kohli, the batsman, the kind of standard that he set for himself, I think that's where he's failing. Not so much as him not being able to score runs, because we were seeing his scores in T20 internationals and in ODIs. It's not so bad.
It's not so bad.
Test cricket, I would agree, with an average of around 28 or something. But, if you look at his ODIs and T20s, he's got some 50s there. There have been some good performances. The part that, though, that worries me about Virat Kohli, the batsman, is that even when he looks good in the middle, he finds a way to get out. with be it lapse of concentration, run-outs. I mean, when is the last time you've seen Virat Kohli get run out in the manner that he has not once but twice in this IPL already? His struggle against the spinners. I just feel like there is a lot going on in his head. It's not so much the technique per se.
Since the captaincy was taken away from him, or he resigned, whatever version you want to believe, which happened in September, October, November last year. He hasn't been the same batsman. He doesn't seem to be there on the field. The Virat Kohli we saw earlier was full of energy. He always there. He was in your face. He wanted to, he attached a price on his wicket. That Virat Kohli, he hated to get out. And look at these numbers. This shows you the start. Even the previous season, when he was not in great form, he was still playing the anchor role for RCB. He scored many more runs in his first 7 matches. But this season, if you see that, look at that. This season he has just 119 runs compared to 198. Failure rate 70%, failure rate 43%. So this start for Virat Kohli has been one of his worst starts ever in the IPLs since he became an IPL great or a very good batsman in the IPL. And this is what is worrying not only for RCB the batsman but for the Virat Kohli the international batsman.
That is right. That not only is Virat Kohli not getting the runs, but he's also finding new ways of getting out, as we said, and we would have expected his fans, RCB fans would have expected him to perform better after that burden of captaincy has been taken off him. But seems like that used to probably be one of the ways in which he egged himself on, which we've seen him. His numbers in all 3 formats of the game seems to improve as a captain when he's the captain, as a batsman. But right now, what is it that is going on in Virat Kohli's mind that everybody wants to know? But now few of the former cricketers have suggested this, in fact, that maybe he should look at taking a break. Ravi Shastri, his former coach, has said that he seems overcooked. Kevin Peterson has talked about how he needs to just get off social media, just go away for a while, get re-energized and come back. And I wonder the pressure that Virat Kohli must feel as a batsman right now. Also because there's just so much that is expected out of him.
Absolutely.
He set those standards, but now maybe that's the reason why he's not, that the pressure's increased so much more on him.
No, absolutely. I mean, he's also a victim of his own very high standards. Those are not high standards, those are very high standards.
Yes.
I mean, no one has an average of above 50 in all 3 formats. His average, for the first time now, has gone down below 50 in Test cricket. It was above 50 for the longest time, last 3 or 4 years. The thing for me is that now people like Ravi Shastri are saying that Virat Kohli needs a break. Ravi Shastri is a confidant, a friend, someone who knows Virat Kohli inside out, one of the most successful captain-coach pairs in international cricket history, I would say, Shastri and Kohli, in terms of results for India. And when Shastri is saying, then it carries weight. So clearly, I think Virat Kohli needs a break after this IPL, before that England tour, which is an important tour. He led India to the 2-1 lead. India needs to win that series. I think he needs a break. And geniuses in the past have gone through slumps, taken a break, and made great comebacks. So maybe that is just a break would do wonders for Virat Kohli.
And I also think if you look at all the players in this team, if there's one person who can come back from that kind of slump, it is Virat Kohli, because of the kind of temperament that he has. We've seen him, he's such a fighter, he actually thrives in pressure. And so, I don't think that it's really the pressure. I also feel like somehow luck is also not going his way. You know, what they call the rub of the green, just not going his way. He's not getting any respite, he's not getting any second chances. So somewhere I feel like that is also a problem, but then hey, it's Virat Kohli, he doesn't need any luck to show what a great player he is. Now also, if you take a look at the way he's gotten out, we talked about this 2 run-outs. When was the last time you ever saw Virat Kohli get run out in that manner? Virat Kohli's running between the wickets, Virat Kohli's judgment of a run
was impeccable.
It was impeccable. Then to see him get out like this, I remember that brevis wicket
leg
as
before
well.
wicket. I mean, getting out to a part-time leg spinner, 2 run-outs, it never happens. One of the best judges of the, of the single and the twos. Also, two dismissals have been when he's played the ball uppishly. One caught at backward point, one, at deep square. So, and Virat Kohli doesn't play loose shots.
Yeah.
Virat Kohli, he likes to play, he doesn't like to take risks. He only takes calculated risks when it is needed.
Yeah.
He doesn't unnecessarily play the ball in the air. So therefore, I think his modes of dismissal also tell a story that his batting is right. It's not up there. When he was at his peak before November 2019, something is clearly wrong, and it is not technical. It is mental. It has to be mental with Virat Kohli.
And he's tried. I think he's
yeah.
also tried to change the batting and his intent in the matches we've seen. Virat Kohli would normally leave some of those deliveries, has gone after them and has scored runs,
Yes.
not just in the IPL, but even before this. And you feel like, is he trying, in that word intent that people use very often? Okay, he's showing intent. So I get that he's trying to do that, but just not being able to score runs. I wonder how much of this has to do with what happened with him and the BCCI.
I think 90%.
I think all of it is.
All of it, 100%. I mean, everything has changed since then. I mean, although his batting slump started in November 2019, and that time the relations with the BCCI were okay. But then I think it all got mixed. I mean, the results were not coming for India in terms of ICC trophies. He was not winning for RCB, any title.
Yeah.
His batting slump in Test cricket reached an all-time high. And then the spat with the BCCI president, etc., etc.
And the timing of it couldn't have been worse.
Couldn't have been worse. And then the rise of Rohit Sharma simultaneously, which is not, Rohit Sharma's fault. Rohit Sharma did brilliantly as a batsman across formats. And then Mumbai Indians were winning one title after the other. And then he was given the captaincy. So everything was taken away in a way from Virat Kohli.
Also, I feel with Virat Kohli, one of the things has been that he's kept a distance between him and the media. He's kept a distance between him and the BCCI. It almost seemed to me at one point that Virat Kohli wasn't really bothered about anybody else but his batting and his game. And he thought that if this was okay, everything else would work. The problem now is that this is not okay. And you've also made sure that you've, sort of stayed afar from forming close relations with anybody.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's playing a role as well, because I don't know who would he turn to. There's nobody in the BCCI to turn to. Ravi Shastri is gone. In his team itself, I don't know what's his relationship. Obviously, it's not been what he would have, or what they would have liked. Otherwise, somebody would have come out and said, hey, we want Virat Kohli as the captain when he decided to step down.
Absolutely.
Nobody ever spoke about, we want Virat Kohli back as a captain. No
Absolutely.
one's ever spoken about it. Nobody in the team. So I wonder what seems to be the problem. But some of it is also this, where he's just not finding that support from anywhere right now.
Yeah, when he became the great he did, and is in partnership with Ravi Shastri, his dealing with the media, with Anil Kumble, the ex-coach, we all know what transpired. I think, a lot of things transpired. He rubbed a lot of people, in the wrong way, and therefore he doesn't, the media and him may not have the best of relationship. And he thought he will answer everything by scoring tons of runs the way he has done in 2016, 17, 18, and most of 19. But that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And now he has, almost nothing to show. He only has his, past glory to fall back upon. And that cannot last forever.
Yeah, I feel like that's the time when you need people to come and support you. And I feel like he's not got that support simply because of what his relationship with those quarters have been in the past. So be it, the administrative part of it, be it the media, be it maybe his teammates as well, because I don't see too many of them coming out and talking to him or, talking about his batting. Now, Rohit Sharma did come out. There's always this conversation around, they have a rift going on between Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. Rohit Sharma did come out before the IPL began, I think, and said that leave Virat Kohli alone. He will get the runs. And I get where he's coming from. But I also feel that there is a subplot here with Virat Kohli not performing in the IPL, and that is the T20 World Cup. And with so many other players putting their hand up and saying, look, we can be your number 3 in the middle order. We can come in and, perform and score runs at a better strike rate. Does that put more pressure on Virat Kohli?
100% it does. If he keeps failing in this IPL, and then there is South Africa is coming to India, there's a tour to England, and we have a bunch of T20 matches in India before the T20 World Cup. If he does not perform and other players, rise above expectations,
Yeah.
especially players like Shreyas Iyer, who's doing brilliantly, Surya Kumar Yadav, the best Indian batsman currently,
Yeah.
Dinesh Karthik, the new finisher,
Yeah.
Deepak Hooda is, on the fringe. So, India will need to go with the best 11, even if it means dropping Virat Kohli. It is a tough call, but those questions will be asked.
Absolutely.
If they do, he'll definitely go to Australia. But, if his form is really bad leading to the World Cup, anything is possible.
Anything is possible in Indian cricket. Who thought that he'd not be the captain at this time? But he's not of all three formats. He gave up T20 International's captaincy, thinking that he'd still remain the captain of Test cricket and of ODIs. But then ODIs, he was sacked. Test cricket, he just decided to step down. So much has changed in Virat Kohli's life in the last couple of months. Now let's also take a look at his form in all three formats in 2022. And as Nikhil was saying, this is obviously a huge problem now, because there's just so much you can say, oh, great player, he's one innings away from a big score. But all three formats, he struggled in 2022.
Yeah, I mean, if you see Test cricket, the slump continues, so I'm not surprised with those numbers. If you can see the ODI numbers, and this is a bit worrying, ODI is also, if you see 6 innings, only 142 runs this year, average of not even 24, strike rate 75, only 250s. Those are poor numbers. Virat Kohli is the greatest ODI batsman of all time. I would compare him to Tendulkar and Richards, the three greatest of all time. And those numbers are shocking. Even in T20s, these are all T20s, including the IPL, 9 innings, 188 runs, poor average, a very poor strike rate, just 150. So, before this year, even during his period of slump, he was doing well in ODIs and he was doing very well in T20Is. But now from this year, he's not doing well even in T20 cricket. He's also not doing well in ODIs. And therefore, the lack of form in Test cricket is now penetrating into other formats. And that will worry Virat Kohli. That will really worry Virat Kohli.
Now, the other thing, we were talking about this, and I had to get this. Those are numbers, but also Virat Kohli, the man, Virat Kohli, the captain, Virat Kohli, the legend. And I wonder how his teammates think of him. We were having this conversation right before the show began about a show, Breakfast with Champions, where Surya Kumar Yadav was talking about a particular incident in the last IPL where Virat Kohli tried to sledge him and he stared back. And he says in that, which is where I feel you get a sense of how players think about him. He says, when the ball went towards him, he did some action and it was very instinctive. I was chewing gum and only I knew, andar se mera fata hua tha, I was petrified from within. When he started walking towards me, my heartbeat shot up. I also didn't say anything. I also didn't respond. But he said, luckily my bat fell on the ground and I was able to break that eye contact. I can't imagine Surya Kumar Yadav being petrified in this way because he's talking about it. So you can imagine, Virat Kohli and the kind of stature that he has enjoyed in that team, but also to be scared of him.
Yeah, he'd become, larger than life. He had become bigger than Indian cricket because he was in that form. India was doing brilliantly across formats. #1 Test team. It was doing brilliantly in ODIs cricket and in T20Is, although they didn't win an ICC trophy. And Virat Kohli was, anything Virat Kohli touched turned into gold, diamond, whatever. I mean, Virat Kohli was, he was conquering the world. He scored runs in Australia, England, South Africa, everywhere, breaking records everywhere. And therefore, and his partnership with Ravi Shastri, I mean, they were basically, they were ruling the roost and steamrolling. I mean, no one could question their authority. But this is a problem. I mean, if this Surya Kumar incident, and there will be many others, this just shows that, yes, I mean, although he was getting the results, maybe there was something lacking in his leadership, maybe.
That's right. But right now we're talking about his own batting and the lack of runs. Okay, so the other thing that we've seen with Virat Kohli in the last couple of years is his struggle against spin bowling. It almost is now with Virat Kohli, if he survives the Pacers, very soon teams bring their spin bowlers to trouble him, and he does get troubled. Yeah,
I mean, if you see his recorded across formats in 2022 in spin. In Test cricket, we've seen he got out to the left arm spin of Emil Dunia recently, and the other Sri Lankan left arm orthodox spinner, the Sri Lankan off spinner, Dhananjay De Silva. Then in ODIs, if you see his numbers against spin, ODI averaging 27, a very this is a strike rate of 117, 3 dismissals, so he's getting out in ODIs also against spin. If you see T20s, again, a very poor strike rate against spin. In fact, in IPL, in the middle overs, he had the lowest strike rate in the last 2 seasons against spin in the middle overs amongst all specialist batsmen. He just could not accelerate against spin, and we discussed this, extensively last season. In the last 2 seasons in the middle overs, he was one of the worst batsmen against spin. He was not getting out to them. He just couldn't accelerate. And this is a big problem for Virat Kohli. Great batsmen are not intimidated by mediocre spinners. He's getting intimidated by mediocre spinners. There is no Shane Warne or Muralidharan or any those world-class spinners. He's getting any left-arm slow orthodox or any part-time off spinner. Virat Kohli is not being able to dominate them, and that is the problem.
The one way I feel like this can be worked on is by having him open. Nikhil and I have spoken about it, in our earlier shows, where Virat Kohli right now, lack of form, best thing is go out, open, hard ball in the power play, go show your intent. Now you have Glenn Maxwell back in the side, so you do have that that cushion of having experience, and Glenn Maxwell's already showing he's in terrific form. Maybe that's the way to take it forward for Virat Kohli.
I mean, at least in T20 cricket.
Get Anuj Rawat to come at number 3.
I mean, Anuj Rawat is not, hasn't set the stage on fire. Anuj Rawat is also performing quite poorly. So Anuj Rawat is not very important, but Virat Kohli is. So Virat Kohli has to open, something different has to be done. And maybe he needs to play the role of the aggressor. Stop playing this anchor role which he has adopted for RCB, for his, a bit. He's done that himself. Also, he thinks that the team needs an anchor. I don't think that's required anymore. He should open with Faf du Plessis, play like he played in 2016.
Yeah. Also, it's not helping that despite him not performing well, except that 141, I think, in one of the matches, RCB's is winning, so they won the last game as well. That's not helping his cause, because suddenly people are saying, oh, he's not the captain, but at least RCB is winning. In the end, for Indian cricket, for India to do well in the T20 World Cup, Virat Kohli needs to get back to form. Virat Kohli needs to get the confidence, because, in 6 months' time, India is going to be playing a World Cup, T20 World Cup in Australia. And you want Virat Kohli in this side to be performing. So hopefully, he gets among runs and he can finally get to his 71st 100 soon enough, because I think that's what all the fans are waiting for. The other thing being, it's Virat Kohli, and if there's somebody who can overcome this, it is King Kohli himself. That's it from Nikhil and I. Hope you enjoyed this presentation. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.